Listen, this might be a harsh or controversial take, but if you're a grown man above the age of 30 and you're a fat ass, you're kind of doomed in life unless you fix it. Now look, I know that sounds rude and I hate to be the bearer of bad news because I'd love to help as many people as possible get in elite shape, but to keep it realistic, with the world that we live in today, if you're more than 30 or 40 pounds overweight as a grown man, you're kind of doomed unless you fix it, but I'm going to show you how you can. You're probably asking yourself, well, Garrison, why am I doomed as a fat ass if I'm above the age of 30? Well, let me tell you why. Well, before we dive really deep into it, to keep it as simple as possible, it's because, quite simply, you're never going to be happy and fulfilled if you're not in the shape that you want to be, because that was intentionally your choice. And if you're physically holding yourself back, you're holding yourself back in pretty much every other aspect of your life. How you do one thing is how you do everything, and you just can't separate that. My name's Garrison Sakis. I've been a certified personal trainer and online fitness coach for high-achieving men, generally in the 6, 7, or 8-figure-a-year range, for the better part of a decade, and I've helped hundreds of men not only transform their physique, but their confidence, their relationships, self-respect, and as a byproduct, their income as well, by taking their health and fitness seriously and dialing everything in. Before we get into the video, I am opening up a couple more coaching slots for some very serious men who are looking to get in the best shape of their life and get visible abs in 16 weeks or they don't pay. If that sounds at all interesting, click the link in my description, book a call, and see if you qualify. I want to set the record straight and say that not everything in your life should revolve around your physique, how jacked you are, or your appearance in general. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, if you're pretty fat, meaning more than 30 or 40 pounds above where you should realistically be, chances are you didn't get there on accident, and it's probably not an isolated event in your life. Like it or not, your physique is a direct reflection of your internal state, your self-respect, and how you carry yourself as a person, and generally who you are. How we do one thing is how we do everything in life. So if you're fat and out of shape, that's because of all of your previous choices and behaviors surrounding your health and discipline in the past, and chances are you're leaving potential in every aspect of your life on the table by holding yourself back physically and not expressing gratitude for your life by being in the shape that you know you could be. And look, I'm not saying any of this to come across as insensitive or be an asshole. This is actually coming from a place of compassion and wanting to help, because as men in this hyper-competitive day and age, we already have it hard enough. We already have enough of our own stressors. The stress to get ahead financially, the stress to look good on social media, the dating culture is a mess, the stress to become a high-value, respected man in general, it's already hard enough. So why would you want to hold yourself back mentally and physically by being fat, sloppy, and unfit? I mean, let's be honest. Do you think that you're really going to be able to operate at the highest capacity, the highest version of yourself, if you hate what you see in the mirror and you're intentionally choosing to be less than your best, succumb to mediocrity, instant gratification, and unearned dopamine, and that's culminated into a physique that you hate? Let's be real. That's just not going to happen. So look, I'm not saying that you won't be successful or you can't get ahead if you don't have a six-pack or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is the likelihood of you being successful and getting further in your life by filling your own cup, putting yourself first, and taking pride in who you are and expressing the gratitude for your life through daily consistent actions that you don't want to do, they're going to culminate to you being the best version of yourself. Don't you think you have a higher chance with that? Well, you aren't actively changing, you're choosing. So, for example, with anything that you're not happy with in life, if the pain is great enough, you'll actively take the actions and behaviors to change that outcome or change that situation. If not, you're settling for less than your best and you've become complacent to whatever that situation is. And look, as humans, it's super normal for us to settle for things. Our brain is designed to keep us safe, not happy. So a lot of times we'll settle for tons of things in our life, whether that's our income, where we live, our friends, our partner, our physique, our health. We'll all settle for things that are mediocre and less than our best because it's comfortable. And while it may be comfortable, if you're anything like me, the idea of settling for average, mediocre, anything less than your best, it's nauseating because of how much potential you know that you have in your life. We only have one shot at this, so why waste it and live with regret? Like I mentioned before, your physique, it's a direct reflection of your internal state, your self-respect, and your priorities as a person. We all know this, but the highest form of self-respect is by exercising discipline surrounding your health and fitness, as well as your overall habits and behaviors, and how you carry yourself as a person, and the decisions you choose to make that are going to either serve you going forward in life or hold you back. And a lot of times, this is all shit that we don't want to do. I'll personally be the first to say that being in kick-ass shape creates a level of unshakable confidence that no materialism will ever compare to because it can't be bought, it's only earned, but this isn't all about the appearance or the vanity behind it. This confidence isn't just about the physical body itself, it's found through showing up for yourself on a daily basis, doing shit that no one's forcing you to do, no one's even asking you to do, shit that you don't want to do, but you know is going to compound through your daily deposits to help you show up as the highest version of yourself. This is delayed gratification and true earned dopamine. This is where your true self and respect comes from. Not just how you look in the mirror, it's because you're consistently showing up for yourself every day. Again, planting the seeds that are going to allow you to reap what you sow down the line. So with that being said, if you're not showing up for yourself at the highest level, you're leaving immense potential on the table in every aspect of your life. If you're not even showing up for yourself, there's basically a 0% chance that you're showing up for anyone else at the highest level. Whether that's your business with you as a leader, your employees, your family, your friends, your partner, whatever it is, there's no chance that you're showing up for yourself at the highest level if you don't even fill your own cup and express the gratitude and self-respect through your own daily deposits and doing what you know you need to do for yourself on a daily basis. One of the biggest things that I've learned in life is that people don't give a damn about what you say, they pay attention to what you do. So, if you want to command a certain level of respect from others, whether that be friends, family, employees, coworkers, whatever it is, that all starts with you respecting yourself and expressing that through your daily actions, behaviors, and disciplines. True self-respect and confidence is cultivated through stacking small wins for yourself by showing up for yourself, proving yourself right, and sticking to your own word. If you want to serve others at the highest level, it all comes with putting yourself first and giving yourself the best chance to succeed. So, if you're someone who's tried to get in shape in the past and failed, let's think about why that could even happen, because it only boils down to a couple things. Generally, people will think it's either the program they were following that wasn't catered to their goals and lifestyle, so it didn't work, or that they didn't have the support and accountability that they needed for success to stick with it long-term enough to actually see results. But more times than not, it really comes down to someone's self-belief and whether they even feel that they're worth it or deserving of that outcome, whether they even truly believe they can do it. Think of it, deep down, if you can't even imagine yourself having your dream physique, or you don't think that you're deserving of that outcome, or you don't feel that you're worth that, why would you ever put in the work required to get there and stay consistent with it? It just doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't. Like, for example, if I don't feel I'm worth $1 billion, why would I ever take the steps and actions necessary to try and put myself in that position when I don't even feel I'm worth that? To me at least, it's actually quite hard to conceptualize why someone wouldn't value their health and fitness, but a lot of times, again, they don't have the self-respect and they don't feel that they're deserving of that goal to even be in that position, so they're never going to take the steps to actually get there. A lot of times this is because they've never shown up for themselves long enough and kept the word to themselves long enough to actually believe that they can again reach that goal and reach that outcome without just failing or quitting. We all love to blame external factors, play the victim, make excuses, and absolve ourselves of responsibility because it's super easy to do that, but at the end of the day, it's never going to get us anywhere, and we know that. Now, don't get this twisted. Pretty much everyone on Earth benefits from having someone further along than them on their journey to help them, stay in their corner, hold their feet to the fire. Everyone benefits from coaching in some capacity, but in this context, if you're trying to get in shape and you haven't taken the action for it, everything's out there information-wise. You could find a meal plan, you could find a training plan. If you're not taking the necessary steps to get where you want to go, you're simply showing that you don't value this, it's not a priority, and you don't care for yourself enough to put yourself first and commit to the process of something that you know is going to serve you down the line, but you probably don't want to do. No one's saying you have to be perfect, but if you actually had this goal and it was actually important to you, it was a true priority, you would be taking the necessary steps and actions to change your situation rather than staying a victim of circumstance. So we already talked about the fact that you being fat is basically forcing you to leave potential on the table in all aspects of your life, but let's also talk about what it's actually doing to you physiologically. Being fat makes us feel like shit for more than just a few reasons. The first one obviously is beyond just us hating what we see in the mirror, being ashamed of that, not being confident, etc. But also physiologically, the fatter you are, the more testosterone that you have that gets converted or aromatizes to estrogen. Meaning this testosterone, your primary male androgen, which is responsible for your energy, your libido, your cognition in general, your muscle mass, fat loss, all of this gets basically haltered when a lot of this gets converted to to estrogen because estrogen is stored in fat cells. So the more fat that you have, the more this testosterone directly gets converted to estrogen. So again, the fatter you are, the lower your testosterone levels are. So just by you getting leaner, you're already going to bump up your testosterone levels naturally. For so many guys that are fat, this becomes such a negative feedback loop. You get testosterone converted to estrogen, so you feel worse, you have less energy, so you want to move less, aka you're exercising less, you're taking less steps, so now your activity is down-regulated. You have less energy and confidence, so you're justifying shittier food choices. So then your calories are going up, your activity is going down, so your fat is piling on, and then all of this fat is leading to more conversion of testosterone to estrogen. It's just such a negative cyclical feedback loop. And because you know these are your choices, because you're eating like shit, you're moving less, you're automatically going to have less confidence, so you're not going to want to be as social, you're not going to be as confident in social settings, you're going to be getting less women, you're going to be justifying worse self-talk, you're going to be justifying vices, drugs, other behaviors that you shouldn't be doing. Again, all of this just starts with you not taking care of yourself and getting fat and now justifying that comfortable existence, when in reality, it's ruining you. It sounds so damn cliche, but self-mastery is the key to everything. If you show me a man's habits, I'll show you his future. So, rant aside, you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I even fix this shit, Garrison? Well, I gotcha. If you're someone who hasn't prioritized their health in a long time, or maybe ever, the longer you're out of the game, this shit gets overwhelming and very daunting, so I get that. Seems like you don't even know where to start, so let me just make it simple for you. Before I get into the formula for fixing this, I want to preface it by saying you don't have to be super regimented, you don't have to be super militant or anything like that. We're not chasing perfection here unless you're a physique competitor. If you're someone who just wants to get in better shape and improve their habits and behaviors, you're already so far off the wagon that if we get you 80% right, you're going to make some insane progress, so don't worry about you being super dialed, tracking every gram, every calorie. I don't want you to feel like that's 100% necessary. Again, the more you're tracking your intake and the more on top of things you are, the faster your result's going to be and the more consistent your progress is going to be. But that doesn't mean that you can't make progress by just being better than you were yesterday. That's the goal here. We're chasing progress, not perfection. I know this is daunting, and in reality, we don't really have to add much to our daily habits or routines, but we do have to remove some things that are withholding us from taking those steps in the right direction to actually reaching those goals and bettering ourselves as individuals. All right, yapping aside, let's get into the actual formula that's going to take you from wherever you are now at ground zero fat ass and take you to absolute Chad. No more depression, no more anxiety, just pure confidence in your own capacity and who you are as an individual to help you level up in every aspect. The first thing that we need to do to fix our problem of ground zero, depressed, low energy, unconfident fat ass, we have to set some proper non-negotiable habits and set a proper foundation for how we operate to fill our cup, to improve our energy, our mood, our confidence, and our health. Like it or not, this comes with action and activity. In this context, we're never going to outthink or outwill our way out of a body that we don't like. That all comes through direct action and activity, which again carries over to everything else that you do in life, but this is no exception. This first step here starts with some form of daily activity. This doesn't mean you have to do resistance training or work out every day, but we should be getting at least a bare minimum of 7 to 10K steps a day. Most of us are so damn sedentary that we don't even get like 2 to 3K steps a day, which is barely a mile over the course of an entire day walked. And you wonder why you feel like shit, you claim your metabolism's wrecked. It's because you're getting basically zero activity. You're just sitting all day, eating like shit, feeling like shit, and feeding negative behaviors. All right, we want to fix that right off the bat. And the first step that we can take to go ahead and remedy this is through consistent step count and daily activity. Number 2, this should be a no-brainer, but you can't be eating fast food or eating out for every meal that you eat and expect to, again, have a good physique, feel good, look good, or respect yourself. It just doesn't work that way. You're going to have to prepare a majority of your own meals. This doesn't mean you can't eat out ever, but if you want an idea of what's going into your mouth and you want to have control over what's happening aesthetically and on the scale, it helps if you prepare your own meals and actually take time to do this once or twice a week to bulk prepare animal proteins and carbohydrate sources so you're not left operating reactively, going and eating out, doing whatever. You actually have your own meals ready to go, so it's not a guessing game, and you have control over what's actually going in your body. Again, not saying you can't enjoy your life. But if you getting in better shape, losing body fat, putting on muscle, feeling better, if any of these are actual goals for you, chances are you need to pull your calories down to where you're in a deficit, up your protein to at least hit 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and you need to have an idea of what's actually going into your mouth so you have the control over that outcome rather than, again, just guessing and putting a random amount of gas in your car and expecting to get where you want to go on the daily basis. It doesn't work like that. Now, if the goal is fat loss, everyone loves to shit on intermittent fasting, but all it is really just condensing your eating window. So chances are you're going to be getting less calories in if you're not eating over the course of 12 or 14 hours throughout the day. If you cut that down to like a 6-hour eating window and you're making the right whole food, unrefined, unprocessed food choices that are predominantly single ingredient, so animal proteins, fruits, vegetables, quality carb sources, if you're doing that and you're condensing your eating window while still prioritizing protein intake, you're going to fucking crush it. So if you don't have to eat every second of the day, I would recommend intermittent fasting for most people. Go ahead and push that eating window back to where you don't have your first meal till, let's say, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever it is, whatever you can handle throughout the day and aligns with your schedule. If you don't have to eat every second of the day, it's going to make it harder for you to get fat, which is a good thing. Now, I'm not recommending you starve yourself. That's not healthy eating behavior whatsoever. I'm just offering an option that most people love to shit on, but I think is incredibly effective because at the end of the day, fat loss and weight loss does come down to caloric restriction. So if you can work it into your schedule to where you can intentionally reduce the amount of food you're eating for less hours, I mean, it's going to help. If you're someone who has to eat earlier in the day or as soon as they wake up and you need breakfast, I just recommend that you keep it lower calorie, much higher protein, lower carb. Okay, so if it's high protein, you're going to be satiated, meaning you're going to stay full for a longer duration of time. Okay, it's going to help stabilize your energy and your blood glucose levels so you're not going to have that afternoon crash, you're not going to have the brain fog, and you're not going to feel like shit. As well as it's only going to promote your body recomposition goals by, again, allowing us to have more frequent bouts of muscle protein synthesis, MPS. This is going to ensure that we're, again, drawing from the right energy stores and we're continually making progress towards putting on muscle, which is only going to help us with our body recomp. As for our carb intake, we're going to want most of it to be in the peri-workout window. Peri just meaning around. So we're going to want most of our carb intake right before a workout and then also right after a workout when we can most effectively utilize these carbs coming in. Okay, we only use carbs as energy during high intensity exercise. So if we're not working out hard, if we're just on a short walk, if we're sitting around, we don't need carbs as fuel pretty much at all. So let's say you work out in the middle of the day. Your first meal in the day could be higher protein, slightly higher fat, low carb. Okay, fat, slow digestion. But again, as long as it's not too crazy, you're not going to slow it very much. You want higher protein earlier in the day. Okay, for your second meal, your pre-workout meal, it would be very carb heavy, something as a fast digesting carbohydrate source. This could be a rice-based cereal, for example. It could be cream of rice, something to that effect that's going to digest fast and, again, replenish your glycogen stores and give you energy for your workout. Right after a workout, again, we don't want to slow this digestion process down at all, so we want it to be moderate carb, moderate protein, somewhat low fat. Okay, this is going to allow us to, again, keep the muscle protein synthesis bouts going to keep us anabolic throughout the day. Okay, we're going to be replenishing those glycogen stores with the carbohydrate sources, and then we want to keep our fat relatively low so we don't slow that digestion down. Towards the evening, if you're not really doing anything very physically active, it can be higher fat because, again, slowing down digestion at that case doesn't really matter, and we don't want very high carb because we're not going to be using them. So it could be like more of a keto-esque meal or something that's just lower carb where you're not pounding your face with rice and potatoes. All right, the next step to unfatting your ass is you have to be doing some degree of resistance training, ideally at least 3 to 4 times a week. Now, you don't need to be in the gym spending hours in there every day to get pretty much the best outcome. For most guys, unless they're, again, trying to be a physique competitor, I'd recommend 3 times a week full body, and then after you're really comfortable with that, transitioning to 4 times a week upper lower. So it'd be 2 on, 1 off. So it'd be upper lower rest, and then kind of following that format and taking some extra rest days as needed generally on the weekend. So you're training a total of 4 times a week. The goal with this isn't to become the next Mr. Olympia or Hulk. It's just to go ahead and increase our daily activity as well as support our overall metabolism, or BMR, meaning our basal metabolic rate, by just having more lean tissue on us. The more muscle we have, the higher our baseline metabolic rate is, so it's only going to support your fat loss goals by having a higher level of muscle mass. This is going to contribute to you having a better body composition as well. It's also going to help us, again, stave off injury, stave off disease. It's going to improve bone density. I mean, it's also going to help us look great. So, I mean, there's really no downside here. Trying to get into the gym 3 to 4 times a week, focusing on a few compound exercises and some accessories that target all of your muscles as needed for 2 to 3 sets of 6 to 15 reps, focusing on taking them close to failure and getting stronger at them over the long term, because progressive overload is king. If you're someone who doesn't want to have to think about what exercises they have to do, how often, for how many sets, for how many reps, any of that, you don't want to worry about the programming at all, just click the link in my description and make your own copy of my kick-ass upper-lower training program and enjoy the progress. Just make sure you're focusing on quality execution so your mechanics are on point, you're taking it through a full range of motion, and again, the priority is getting stronger on them week to week because progressive overload is king. You cannot get better in the gym and continually make progress from a muscle standpoint if you're not focusing on getting stronger over the long term. I don't want to come across as your dad or anything like that. I'm not here to be a parent. We all know this, but you're not going to support your muscle growth, fat loss, body recomp, or overall health goals if our sleep quality is shit. Just as simple as that. When the duration or quality of your sleep suffers, it immediately jacks your stress hormone, aka cortisol, through the roof. Okay, this not only affects our insulin sensitivity and blood glucose, so basically how effectively we can utilize the carbs coming in, which can have a cascade of negative effects, but again, it also directly reduces our testosterone levels, it impacts our cognition, it makes us feel like shit overall. So we want to avoid that with, again, ideally 7 to 9 hours of high quality sleep in a cool, dark room. Again, no light coming in. We don't want to inhibit melatonin production whatsoever. So ideally under 70 degrees, pitch black room, 7 to 9 hours at a consistent sleep and wake time. That is one of the best things that you can do for your overall health as well as your overall fat loss and body recomposition goals. Hands down, the biggest needle movers when it comes to you improving your mood, energy, physique, health, any of that, as well as obviously your testosterone, are going to be your nutrition. So whole food-based intake, very high focus on protein, consistent resistance training where you're focusing on getting stronger, then prioritizing your recovery. So again, making sure you're sleeping those 7 to 9 hours per night, and as well as obviously other things we can do to boost our activity to help us drive ourselves into a deficit are hitting those 7 to 10K steps a day, and potentially doing 3 to 4 times a week of direct, low-intensity, steady-state cardio for like 20 to 30 minutes. This can be, again, a brisk walk, this can be Stairmaster, it can be whatever you like. Not that we like doing cardio at all, but from an overall all-cause mortality risk reduction and heart health outcome, we just can't get away from it. You might as well just do a little bit of damn cardio. As some bonuses, there are some things that you can throw in to go ahead and improve the results of your foundational components like nutrition, exercise, and recovery. Things like glucose disposal agents, aka GDAs, are very, very powerful. My favorite one is berberine with Ceylon cinnamon. I'd recommend taking between 500 milligrams and a gram before and after carb-heavy meals. Again, this is going to help us go ahead and improve our glucose metabolism. So it's going to help us digest the carbs coming in better and actually shuttle them into the muscle cells to store as glycogen, as opposed to leaving them free-floating in the bloodstream, which is going to wreak havoc on our body. Okay, so after you do this, also take a 10 to 15 minute walk after these carb-heavy meals. You're going to drastically improve your insulin sensitivity, improve your digestion, lower your blood pressure, and a host of other positive benefits. Next, everyone's favorite supplement, creatine. I would recommend that pretty much everyone take between 3 and 10 grams of creatine a day. There's basically zero downsides whatsoever. It's amazing for your energy production, helps your performance in the gym, as well as it helps reverse the effects of poor sleep. So you can go ahead and macro dose creatine. Let's say you only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You can take between 20 and 30 grams of creatine, and you can completely negate the down-regulated cognition aspects of poor sleep. So again, you can reverse that brain fog. You can bring yourself back and actually reduce all of that inflammation as well right off the bat. In addition, supplementation-wise, everyone should be taking a high-quality fish oil, getting between 500 milligrams and 2 grams of total EPA and DHA intake per day. I'd also recommend that everyone takes a high-quality D3 supplement between 5,000 and 10,000 IU per day. Ideally, supplementing K2 with this is going to be a benefit as well, generally about 200 micrograms of K2. In addition, even if you eat a lot of meat, I would recommend that most people take a high-quality B complex as well. This is going to help with inflammation, carb metabolism, a host of things, right? B vitamins are basically essential in our overall mood, energy production, and metabolism. In addition, you can throw in things like boron between 5 and 10 milligrams per day to go ahead and reduce SHBG, which is sex hormone binding globulin, which directly reduces your free test levels. So by you introducing boron, it's going to help you sustain higher free test levels in your bloodstream, which is what your body actually uses in terms of testosterone. All right, and lastly, on the supplement side, I would recommend pretty much everyone experiment with methylene blue. It's a bit taboo because it's a clothing dye, but it's seemingly a miracle drug right now that's doing some amazing things for reversing cancer and chronic illness. I'd recommend everyone try between 0.5 and 2 milligrams per kilogram of weight, so you can convert that to pounds. But that's the recommended dose for most people. You can always titrate up or down based on the effect that you want. But it's seemingly amazing at reducing systemic inflammation, so bringing down all of the inflammation in your body, improving cognition, as well as overall energy metabolism. And this is thought in large part because it's improving mitochondrial efficiency, so basically the rate at which your cells can produce energy. And I mean, who doesn't want that? That's basically the fountain of youth. Again, guys, you could technically do all of this on your own. There's nothing stopping you from finding a training program, meal plan, and implementing it on your own. Where most people tend to get the best results is through an accountability partner. Someone like myself who's already much further along on their journey, that's streamlining the process to remove the guesswork, and again, basically allowing them to buy their time back, as well as them having some skin in the game, so they don't just piss the time and money away and can get the best result possible. Okay, you could probably find all of this on your own, but chances are, if you're not in the shape that you want to be already, I mean, how's that going for you so far? I mean, all the information's already been out there for years, so if you haven't directly implemented it and gotten a great result, I mean, chances are you're going to benefit from someone who is already further along and reach the goal that you'd like to reach. So, with that being said, I am opening up a few more coaching slots for some seriously dedicated men who want to get in the best shape of their life and get visible abs inside the span of 16 weeks, or they don't pay. Best case scenario, you get in the best shape of your life, you feel amazing, and you compound every aspect of your life. Worst case scenario, you get a full refund, you don't pay a dime, and you're still equipped with all the knowledge and resources needed for you to go ahead and reach that goal. So, if this sounds at all interesting, click the link in my description, see if you qualify for a call, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side. Make sure to like and subscribe on this video, and give me a follow on Instagram at Garrison Sakes, that's GarrisonSakes. If you're someone who's finally ready to step into the highest version of yourself and stop settling for less than your best, and ready to plant your flag in the sand and say enough's enough, I need to change, again, click the link in the description, see if you qualify, and I look forward to talking soon, guys.